Good morning. Today we'll discuss further the definition and nature of tragedy as written by Aristotle in the Poetics. Next point we'll discuss is the plot of the tragedy. Aristotle examines the plot of a tragedy and calls it that it imitates actions, and its plot consists of a logical and inevitable sequence of events. The action it imitates is its plot, and the action must be complete, that we can say it must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is that from which further action flows out and which is intelligible in itself and not consequent or dependent on any previous situation. A satisfying end is that which follows inevitably from what has gone before, but which does not lead to further action. It marks the completion of the tragic action. The middle is that which follows inevitable upon what has gone before, and it also leads to an inevitable conclusion. Therefore, at all points, Aristotle has emphasized that the tragic action must be in accordance with the laws of probability and necessity. Next is the magnitude of the tragedy. The action of a tragedy must be of a certain magnitude, and the word is used in the sense that magnitude means of a certain size or length. It must be long enough to permit an orderly development of action to a catastrophe. If it is too short an action, it cannot be regarded as proper and beautiful, for its different parts will not be clearly visible, and in the case of very small living creature. Neither should be too long, for in that case it will not be taken in as an artistic whole by the memory. The action should be proportionate in the relation of the different parts to each other and to the whole. Therefore, it must be an organic whole. Then next is the types of plots. We can divide them into two, that is simple and complex. Aristotle divides the plots of tragedy in two kinds, simple and complex plots. He calls a plot simple when the change in the fortunes of the hero takes place without peripety and discovery, and the plot is considered to be complex when it involves one or the other or both. The peripety is the change in the fortunes of the hero, and discovery is a change from ignorance to knowledge. Aristotle prefers a complex plot, for it startles and captures attention, and so is likely to perform the tragic function more effectively than a simple plot. He regards the episodic plot, that is, a plot in which the different episodes introduced by the dramatist have neither probability nor necessity. Then we come to probability and necessity. In the Poetics, Aristotle lays great emphasis on the probability and necessity of the action of a tragedy. He says that there must be a causal connection between various events and incidents, and they must follow each other naturally and inevitably. No incident or character should be superfluous. The events introduced must be such as are probable under the circumstances. Similarly, Aristotle emphasizes unity of action, as he believes that the plurality of action weakens the final effect of tragedy. The last we will be discussing today is the function of tragedy, that is catharsis. Aristotle talks about the function of tragedy and points out that it is to present scenes of fear and pity, and therefore to bring about a catharsis of these emotions. He does not supply any explanation of the function of tragedy. Therefore, critics have advanced a number of explanations, and the term has been variously interpreted. What Aristotle exactly meant by the term can only be understood with a reference to his other works, specifically the Rhetoric, the Politics, and the Ethics. The whole question is a complex one, and a number of interpretations are possible. But for our purpose, it would be sufficient to say that by the catharsis of such emotions as pity and fear, he means their restoration to the right proportions or to the desirable mean, which is the basis of his discussion of human qualities in the ethics. Thank you. We will discuss the other elements of tragedy in our next lecture.